Today I have just made a very short video in English. That is something that I haven't done for a long time. I want to give here an executive summary of what this video is about. Basically, I would say it takes two to tango, right? So if you look at trade as a bilateral engagement, two parties. Let's don't talk about all the nations together, but just two nations, one against the other. The Americans have initiated a trade war with every one of their trade partners. So if you are any of these people who are on the receiving end, you have a choice to make. So in my video, I'm going to say that you can go to the extreme on the A side, which is try to satisfy the needs of America. People like Argentina, Israel, and even Vietnam, they're doing that. Or maybe you can go to the another extreme end, like China. So what would be the impact if you do that? So my emphasis is that it's up to you, every single nation, to accommodate or to antagonize, right? Because the way it is, America is a bully. So enjoy my video. And I will try to recap that in Cantonese afterwards as well. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm quite confident that most of my audience, even though they are originally from Hong Kong, they are fluent in English, then they would understand if I make a short episode in English. In that endeavor, I hope that I can reach a broader audience on a very important issue about this global tariff war. This is what President Trump himself called Liberation Day of America. Is of severe impact to a lot of the constituents in the global economy, and it's quite obvious fact that the stock markets, most of them have responded respectively, accordingly, in a true panic, at least in the initial reaction, okay? But I like to take you deeper into some kind of an analysis that is more to the specific, and mainly focusing on a national response as a kind of adapting to the force from America, which is not quite obvious, an overwhelming, powerful bully, if you will, right? In a very large sense, Trump is bullying the rest of the world, okay? Now, why I say that, even though I'm very supportive of his MAGA movement, I think this is very kind of tricky when he dressed up the whole thing as reciprocal tariffs, which in some ways the measurements are not exactly clear. Like, for example, the Trump administration is claiming that, for example, Vietnam is charging an import duty of a sort of 90%. But this is not exactly the real case. I mean, the actual tariffs for American goods into the Vietnamese market is something less than 20%. But the arguments of the Trump administration is that there has been a lot of intangible barriers to allow to disallow American products into the Vietnamese market. And to tell a long story short, to make it very simple and dirty, is that because Vietnam currently is enjoying a very hefty trade surplus with its bilateral trade with America. So whenever you have a situation like this, the Trump team would say, oh, now even though on paper the tariffs are not as high, but because American goods cannot penetrate your market and you are selling a lot of stuff to us, and you have this, we cannot tolerate this kind of trade surplus. So I would say your actual effective tariffs on us is some kind of a number that is much higher than what shows on paper. Now this is kind of a bullying act, but that because America is in a position that it has the power, it has the might, politically, economically, military even, right, in the world stage. So you got to live with this superpower. So I would just try to think on behalf of the people on the receiving end, what kind of alternatives, what kind of choices do you have? Now, the world sometimes we can simplify without oversimplifying. It's actually it's a choice between A and B. There are two extremes of what you can do. Now, I give you an example of the extreme of A, which is succumb to American pressure. Just be nice and try to survive by satisfying Trump. Now, those people are people like Argentina, Israel, Vietnam, and maybe the UK is coming to brings itself up to speed very quickly, which is, okay, we negotiate, we take down our barriers of trade to your products, we take all our tariffs to zero like Argentina, and we try to buy more American goods. If we can deliver that, can you take down all your punitive tariffs on our goods? Now that is one extreme. That, let's call that is the policy A, right? The other extreme is the People's Republic of China. It's a tit for tat thing. It's like whatever you do to me, I do to you. Okay? So on top of the 20%, you are adding another 34%. Now I'm adding 34% on all your products. And then I would teach you a lesson. Now, I think the world would fall somewhere in the middle. But a lot of countries, in order to survive, in order to not see the running away of the gravy train, in order to keep prosperity, they would try their best to satisfy America. And also, in combining with some of the effective policies inside the United States, they are lowering energy prices by getting rid of the carbon net zero thing, the carbon neutral thing, by drill baby drill, and also by cutting down on the bureaucracy and the regulations and expenditures on the government. So the whole combined effect would actually would ease inflation pressure on the United States and increase the American economic strength, and then gradually with low tax and with a healthy environment and with government initiation, hopefully in the longer term, they would bring back manufacturing jobs inside the United States. And because of the still relatively high tariffs, the companies would adapt and they would try to produce inside America. The brand names for like decades, like Ralph Lauren, they are making everything outside America. The Timex watch, they are making everything outside America. But maybe in a new initiatives and a new ecology, they would try to start manufacturing inside America. And then the other companies, non-Americans like Samsung, Toyota, you name it, right? They would start manufacturing in America. So that actually would gradually improve the manufacture base of America, and America would start making more things, and then in a more efficient way, in a lower price. Bear in mind, we have more than 300 million people in this growing nation, which is very different from the other developed countries. So then we have more jobs in America that would be like for manufacturing and for manufacturing for export. So within this group of people who are on the A side, who are inclined on the A side, there would be a thriving economy that would take down all the trade barriers in the longer term. It would take maybe 1 or 2 years, but would not take forever. But there would be a lot of other countries who are stubborn enough. I won't say a lot, but there would be a significant amount of countries that would be stubborn enough and angry enough that they would try to do the tit for tat on the B extreme. People like Xi Jinping's People's Republic of China. But then what would happen is that effectively they would be committing suicide by decoupling their economy with an American-led recovery of a thriving economy of a free trade zone, right? So I would say everyone has a choice to make. If the EU finally repent from their thinking of treating America like an enemy, and they would like to bring their own industries back to their own countries, and they would try to negotiate a free trade area with America by taking down all the subsidies of European-made products and agricultural goods and whatever, right? And then that would be also a strong sign, if they will, but I think it would take some time. But if the European Union refused to do that, and they would actually shrink in the global economy, because America can work with, the United States can work with American countries, Australia, and a lot of developing countries, for example, like Vietnam, in the new economy, in the new global economy. So I would say the picture depends on your choice. If you really think with common sense and in the interest of your own people, everybody should go for the policy on the A side and follow suit on countries like Argentina and Israel. And then we would have a new rejuvenation of the world economy on a more healthy footing. Now, this is basically, I would say, in the end, the choice is yours. But if you continue on something that doesn't work, and then will you go down on this route of demise? So the choice is every country has a freedom to make. So now I'm going to recap that in Cantonese. 嗱，咁我而家用翻廣東話同大家recap 翻頭先講嗰啲乜嘢啦。我覺得最重要一樣嘢咧，就係而家咧就係打到嚟啦。你中唔中意都好，咁就美國咧就係擺明車馬咧就要恰你嘅。咁咧就係話佢恰唔恰到你咧，我就唔去評論，因為時間就可以證明一切。但你作為佢嘅對手咧，你就唔需要理第啲人點諗。越南有越南嘅諗法，阿根廷有阿根廷嘅諗法，以色列有以色列嘅諗法，歐盟有歐盟嘅諗法，每一個國家都有自己嘅相應措施。英國有自己嘅諗法，澳洲有自己嘅做法，日本有南韓有自己嘅做法。咁我而家咧就覺得呢個世界咧就好複雜，但係基本上咧喺呢個咁嘅情況之下就兩極嘅啫。你可以揀一個極端，我叫 A， 呢個極端嘅 A 咧就好似阿根廷、以色列咁樣，我就總之投降啦。咁呢個投降咧就話咧，我唔只係減到美國嘅入口係零關稅，我仲要用行動證明咧嗰啲無形嘅關卡我都拆除嘅。咁話咧，我要做到令到嗰個貿易嘅任何一方面都唔會出現一個赤字。嗱，如果你做到呢樣嘢咧，貿易平衡咧，嗰個餅可能大咗，但係美國就唔會有嘢講嘅啦。嗱，第一你個關稅係零，第二咧。 你就大量買美國嘢，買到咧你去入口美國嘢，同你進口美國嘅嘢同你入口美國嘅貨咧，係大家係拉勻。咁美國有好多嘢其實都可以賣俾你㗎。而家美國嘅工業產品可能即係因為佢即係長期萎縮啦，咁可能就未必係咁多，但係俾更多嘅日子佢美國嘅即係工業生產，美國嘅製造業可以復甦嘅，係咪啊？因為美國有嗰個能力㗎嘛。咁呢個亦都有國家行為配合啊嘛。但係另一方面，美國嘅原油咧，美國嘅礦產咧、天然資源咧、農產品咧，嗰啲你好似歐盟咁，你長期唔俾人哋入啊嘛。咁所以話你要買美國嘢，台灣大把美國嘢可以買啦。而家佢哋係做保護主義啫嘛。美國嘅牛肉、豬肉，美國嘅各種嘅農產品，全部你都可以入口㗎。不過而家你唔入啫嘛，係咪啊？即係話你買到一個限度咧，就話你可以抵消翻你對美國即係賣出嘅產品，又將嗰個關稅降到0咧，咁美國就自不然要配合，即係佢恰你，咁你都投降啦，係咪啊？咁佢咪將嗰個關稅拆除咯。咁即係呢個就係 A 啦 ，A 嗰邊咧就變咗個自由貿易區，但 B 嗰邊咧就硬撐死撐，係咪啊？就係點講咧？就係你做初一，我做15，我同你奉陪到底。呢個就係習近平所代表嘅中國啦。咁即係話你加我34，我又加你34，咁樣就即係如果加到某一個限度，大家都降唔到落嚟咧，咁你其實一樣嘢就話，如果個貿易仍然進行咧，美國就袋咗好多錢。即係話如果有啲嘢咧，佢就算加咗咁多，佢都賣到嚟美國嘅，咁我冇你符啦，係咪啊？咁但係美國政府就可以袋咗嗰啲錢。但係 most likely 咧就係呢個就唔得㗎啦。於是咧你咁樣加法，佢加你又加咧，咁樣就會令到兩個國家之間嘅貿易咧係跌到落去冰點。咁呢個就 effectively 就咪就係脫歐咯。咁即係話你揀就係做一個自由貿易區定係脫歐，呢個 choice 係你揀嘅。咁即係話如果我哋見到嗱呢個咧就睇下你點反應，即係每兩個國家就一 pair 就係呢個 bilateral 嘅 trade。即係我哋即係如果我係南韓咧，我唔需要理日本點睇嘅。即係我南韓對住美國，美國而家大石砸死蟹，咁我如果係能夠可以做一啲嘢，好似以色列同埋阿根廷咁咧，咁我哋就可以 restore 翻我哋嗰個貿易嘅關係啦。但係如果我哋做習近平嗰樣嘢咧，咁我南韓就要同美國脫歐咯。咁所以呢樣嘢我就長遠嚟講咧，睇啲人點行。但係我覺得大部分嘅國家都係有智慧嘅，所以 most likely 咧，我哋見到有一個叫自由貿易區，嗰班人咧就共同繁榮富庶，另一班人咧佢哋就同美國切割咗之後咧，自己就牛衣對泣。咁我覺得以中國嘅內循環同埋中國嘅經濟實力咧，佢同美國脫歐之後咧，佢嘅日子相當之難過。咁所以我覺得呢件嘢點睇都唔係一件壞事嚟嘅。係咪啊？咁就今日呢個節目咧，就係將我整個全球關稅大作戰咧，就係完整咁樣做一個總結。但最緊要咧，就我繼續講咧，就係等佢下一步各國嘅反應出咗嚟，同埋更多嘅經濟數據出嚟，我再同大家 update。咁好啦，今日嘅節目就講到呢度啦，下次節目時間再見啦，拜拜。